Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Is my eyes watering? People think I'm greeting when Celtic won a game finally. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today it's time for the back pages once more. The series which revived itself like The Undertaker last week. I'm glad that we're doing it again. It's good to open up the conversation and look at what the rest of the media and the rest of the world is saying towards the incidents in Scottish football. Give my opinion to them and see how that fares up against that. You know how it works by now. If you don't, then you'll get it as the video goes on. Let's skip past this and head right into the video. Very quickly, thanks very much to everyone who did check out the return of the series last week and left some feedback in the comments. Done very well, the video last week, considering it was off the back of Celtic dropping points. It was always going to. This week, maybe not so much, but I'm still going to have fun with it anyway. And please, please, please make sure to hit that big red subscribe button. If you're watching and you're not a regular viewer of the channel, or you are a regular viewer and you've just not pressed it, please do so. It's the big red subscribe button below. It's absolutely free and you're getting daily content by yours truly. Well, mostly daily, sometimes 6 days a week, who cares, it's content anyway. If you do enjoy it, please make sure to press it. But let's get into it, and as I always have to do, lean off camera to go and grab my paper. We're starting with, of course, the one that we always start with, the Daily Record. It's the sort of main one up here, isn't it, for Scottish football? So as much as you might not like the writers or the publication itself, we're just here to give opinions, and I'm just here to see how mine's compares up against that. And the back page is dominated by two stories today, but one gorgeous picture of George Michael Philippe JOTA himself. No Time to Die, nice headline off the back of the new Bond film. By the way, what a film. I don't know if you've had the chance to go and see the new Bond film yet, but if you haven't, get to the pictures and see it. I'm a massive Bond fan. I love Bond. It's one of my favourite franchises. And I've been looking forward to this for the last 2 years now. Longer than that, actually. And finally seeing it. Not a letdown. A brilliant, brilliant film, and arguably could be my favourite Bond yet. But No Time to Die. Ange hails boys for showing character to complete away mission. Ange Postecoglou saluted his scrapping Celts for digging deep in Aberdeen to end their away day horror run. Postecoglou's men looked like squandering more points after Lewis Ferguson cancelled out Furuhashi's opener, but JOTA struck late for their first league away win since February, which the Hoops boss believe could be a huge moment in their season. Well, that's the talking point now, isn't it? Is how does this turn the season around? We head into an international break now. I think it's came at a perfect time for Celtic. Yes, you could make the argument that it's came at a bad time because we're going to have to now try and go on from 2 weeks off and pick up from where we left off. But I think it's allowed us a great opportunity to come together as a group, get players back to a fitter level, and then kick on from there. It's not going to be easy. We've got a tough start. Fir Park, not easy. We've then got European games to worry about, and then we're back into the thick and fast fixture schedule. But I think it's came at a perfect time. You look at the likes of Juranovic, you look at McGregor and Furuhashi who are just back. I know they've been picked. I know McGregor will probably play for Scotland. Furuhashi will probably play for Japan. But I think these 2 weeks will allow them a chance to maybe get a bit fitter, give them more minutes as well for their international teams without kind of sacrificing any quality for Celtic. I think it's came at a good time. But the most important thing was that ending that away day form. We had to get that sorted. But maybe the big story of the weekend, not involving Celtic for a change, which means I can open it up on this channel for people who are not just Celtic fans. Tackle was a leg breaker is the headline. Steven Gerrard hits out at Hibs kid Porteous and says he let his manager down. Gerrard last night reignited his long-running feud with Ryan Porteous after labelling the Hibs defender's wild lunge on Joe Aribo a leg breaker. This is what people will be dying to hear my opinion on this tackle. Was it a red card? No, I don't think it was. I can hear the Rangers fans typing in the comments already. There's keyboards going off all around the city. I can hear them all. Look, I don't think, and I'll be honest, Ryan Porteous doesn't help himself. I think he makes the decisions for the referees incredibly easy because of the way he goes in these games, the way he makes rash tackles, the way his decision making goes, and the history he has in the fixture. He doesn't help himself, and the way he's went into that tackle has made the referee do what he done. They give him a red card, but he doesn't touch the player at all. Not in the slightest. No contact. He slid in And you can say it's reckless, I'll agree, and I can understand why people do think it's a red. I'm not going to sit here and absolutely slaughter you for saying that it is a red card. I can understand why people are making the argument, but he wins the ball. And I feel like we have this discussion all the time, and it just chops and changes depending who you support and who it happens to. This is the thing. I'm trying to look at it from a balanced point of view. If it happened to a Celtic player, maybe I would be crying out for a red, but I just don't see how I can give a justification because there's no contact. Yes, it's reckless the way he dives in, and if he does make contact, yeah, it could be a leg breaker. He wins the ball. There's no contact. I just don't think it's a red card. I can understand people making the argument it is reckless. But, maybe a yellow, maybe a booking. I don't know if he was already on a yellow at the point. I didn't actually watch the game, but I don't think it's a red card personally, and I know a lot of people will not agree with me in that. But when, David Buick made the point to me last night, in amateur football it's not a red card, but in professional it is. And I can understand with the way the game's going, yeah, that's a red card decision. They'd probably end up giving that down in England, but we've seen far worse get away with up here, and I just think it's another one of these decisions that maybe enhances the argument for VAR. It maybe also just shows once again the referees are quite bad at their jobs up here. It is going to be a split one, but as I think most Hibs fans will say and most Celtic fans will say, I don't think it's a red card. But I'm not going to go. I'm not very passionate about it. I'm not going to sit here and cry that it was given. It's been done. Rangers won the game at the end of the day. That's what it was. JOTA gets his end away. That's a lovely headline, isn't it? JOTA gets his end away. Lovely. He always gets his end away. And then, character test passed for the Celtic players, apparently. It was a massive test of character for Celtic yesterday. But here's the one I want to talk about, and of course, one that will be sort of all over Twitter, and it's already, I've seen it a few times posted on social media. Ange Postecoglou, if you get injured, don't come back. And I think he's quite right in fucking saying, I know he's having a laugh with it, he's having a joke, and it obviously doesn't mean if you get injured, don't bother coming back to Celtic Football Club. But you can understand the frustration of Ange Postecoglou right now at the moment, with the injury crisis at Celtic, with players going away in international breaks, coming back injured. It happened to Kyogo Furuhashi on the last international break. This is something that has been massive for Celtic so far this season. The fitness, the injuries, has kind of put us in a position where we are in terms of our limited availability in the squad. Our squad depth has been brought into question because of so many injuries. I'm hoping for a fit and clear international break, but as the international conspiracy goes, that's impossible. I'm expecting at least one guy to come back with a knock of some form, because that's just the standard for Celtic. There's no point in me pretending that I don't think it will happen. It's just standard. It's typical of Celtic for that to happen. The hotline today, the best part of the record, when they get everybody involved, they get the readers involved. The quote of the day: the racist abuse Kamara got in Prague was disgusting, but what about the sectarian bile we have to listen to in our football games? That is the quote of the day, apparently. I mean, big issues, both of them. Racism, sectarianism is something that I think they're trying to drill out of football. The racist abuse that Kamara suffered on Thursday was disgusting, to say the least. We touched on that on the last TSF podcast, the fact that it was a stadium full of 10-year-old children, and the behaviour that was given to Kamara was just, it was sickening. It's beyond disgusting, it's sickening. It just makes you feel physically sick knowing that is society in a modern day European country. But there is a problem over here. There is, and that's something that's been addressed, but it's something that just feels like it's going to go on and on and on. It's something that I think they've tried to tackle, hasn't worked, and they're going to have to keep trying. But that is the quote of the day. Celtic finally ended their Premiership away day hoodoo, but Ange Postecoglou's side still have a bit of work to do to win over some of their fans. A fan from Lanarkshire said, "This is the worst Celtic team in living memory, and the people to blame are the board of directors, Ange, John Kennedy and Gavin Strachan. The defence is an absolute shambles." I think to say it's the worst Celtic side in living history would be a very big, and I believe it was Mr. Colin who said this. Colin, thanks Colin. I think that's a fair exaggeration. I have seen worse on two occasions. One being the 2009-10 side of Tony Mowbray. The other being the 2020-21 side of Neil Lennon. Those two sides have been worse than this so far. We haven't been off to a great start. That's not even in the question. It's been a poor start for Celtic. We're sitting 6th in the league table at the moment. However, we are still in a position of rebuild and transition with a squad that has been injured. I completely agree that the board of directors should be under the line of fire, and I will admit that the manager can't be exempt of criticism, but to label it as the worst living side and a worst side in Celtic's living history or whatever, I think would be bizarre. I imagine that Colin here will be older than me by at least a good 10 or 20 years, so he's seen worse Celtic sides than this. Look, we're only in October. It could be. Come December, we could be saying the exact opposite, or we could be saying even worse than what I'm saying right now. It could be. But to label it the worst Celtic side in living history 8 games into the league season, I think is a very, very unfair statement. And yeah, the rest of the record, just going through the sort of weekend results. Rangers, of course, sit top of the table after pulling back a 1-0 deficit against Hibs to win 2-1. And the rest of the league, blah, blah, blah. Big shout out to Tam Courts for his display at the weekend. I thought it was fantastic from Tam Courts, amongst the kind of controversy with Ross County. Malky Mackay, that's the spokesperson you want amongst a racism incident. That's it. Well, in Ross County. But Tam Courts, fair play to him. That's mostly what's in the record today. Of course, there's more there if you want to. I wouldn't urge you to go and buy one, but I mean, if you want to. Daily Express, their back page, once again, dominated by the Ryan Porteous red card incident. Gerard Fury after Ryan Red. Hibs defender is slated by the Gers boss after their win. County deny racist abuse by fans. And finally, the boys on a roll now. Hopefully it's a roll. I mean, we're into an we've only won one. It's not much of a roll, is it? We'll wait and see. Yeah, basically the same stuff in there. A lot of match reviews, match reactions. Was it a red card? The big question of the weekend. That is going to be the one that dominates the sort of conversation until the club football is back. But we are now heading into an international break. Scotland in one of the biggest international breaks in recent memory. We're getting big games, game after game now with Scotland after so many years of pointless games. But a chance to basically guarantee ourselves playoff football for the World Cup if we beat Israel on Saturday. It's going to be a tough couple of weeks for the channel, right enough, with no club football to talk about. Let's hope something happens at Celtic. We'll still hopefully have a Celtic Thunder podcast out. We'll still hopefully be able to talk about some stuff. But if you have anything that you want to see, please let me know in the comments below, and we'll try and sort out some content for the coming weeks. But aye, that'll do it from me today. That's the back pages. Yep, see you next time.